Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV News at 7. I am Gift or Gete. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Nkemdirim Nwosu Ihesimo, has won the August 16th by-election for Aba South State Constituency, Abia State. According to the result of the poll announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission, Ihemiosu polled 1,655 votes to defeat her closest rival, Elder Smart Ebere of the All Progressives Congress, who scored 313 votes, while Chief Chimobi Akbara of the All Progressives Grand Alliance came third with 252 votes. Nkemdirim is the widow of the former occupant of the seat, late Nwosu Ihesimo, who died in March this year after protracting a mysterious illness. Governor Theodore G has congratulated Nkemdirim on her victory, which he described as well-deserved. The All Progressives Congress in the Southeast said it is not opposed to President Goodluck Jonathan running for re-election in 2015, as he has the constitutional right to contest. The APC spoke in a statement by its Southeast Zonal spokesman, Osita Okechukwu. The statement was a response to the endorsement of President Jonathan as Igbo candidate by some Southeast People's Democratic Party elders under the platform of Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria at a rally in Oka. The Southeast APC says the Igbo leaders who endorsed Jonathan have no interest in the well-being of Ndi Igbo. Leaders of the People's Democratic Party in Kwara State, Dele Belgur, and Senator Gbemishola Saraki have conversed for peaceful and active participation of eligible voters during the ongoing permanent voter cards issuance and the forthcoming continuous voter registration in Kwara State, saying that the PDP will defeat the All Progressives Congress in presidential election and all elections in Kwara State in the 2015 general elections. They enjoined eligible voters to take the exercises seriously so as to qualify to choose their leaders. There had been pockets of violence in some areas in Ilorin during the PVC issuance. A core member was injured during one of the fracas, while some people and groups, including the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, had alleged that some of the thugs involved in the violence were suspected supporters of Begore. But in a statement on Sunday by his media aide, Rafiu Ajakaye, Begore denied his involvement in that of his supporters in the violence, ordering that he had reported the matter to the police. Saraki urged all Nigerians, especially Kwara residents, to register during the continuous voter registration, and for those that had registered to collect their permanent voter cards as currently being distributed in Kwara. He noted that it is the right of the people to participate in their governance. She ordered that it is important for people to register to vote as a medium of choosing their leaders. The Labour Party says it has commenced a move to discontinue with the suit filed against a former governor of Ogun State, Gbenga Daniel, challenging his authority in the party before a federal high court, Ikeja, Lagos. The national chairman of the party, Dan Nwayawu, among other members of the national executive, have ordered the suit filed against ex-governor Daniel to be withdrawn. The statement ordered that the party has officially written the lawyer handling the case, Oluyede Daleno, to hands off from the case and notify the Federal High Court in Lagos through an affidavit of their desire to discontinue from the suit. The leaders appealed to all members of Ogun Party leaders or Ogun Labour Party that had defected to other political parties during the protracted crisis to return to the party. They had also agreed to harmonize the state executive during the coming state congresses through affirmation. The Kwara State government has said that the 7-month-old baby who was isolated in the state on the suspicion of Ebola has tested negative to the virus. The boy was said to have manifested symptoms similar to Ebola disease, Lassa fever and malaria. The special assistant to the Kwara State Governor on Information, Dejuni, in a statement on Sunday stated that the state government had received the results of the suspect's test from the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, which showed that the boy tested negative to the Ebola virus. Oni, who is a member of Kwara State Committee on the Prevention and Control of Ebola virus, stated that with the development, the state remains Ebola-free. Oni ordered that shortly after the country recorded the first case, the state government inaugurated a 14-man committee on the prevention and control of the virus, saying that the governor also ordered the immediate procurement of laboratory equipment and reagent, which are already stationed at the Harmony Advanced Medical Diagnostics Center in Ilorin. In a bid to prevent the outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus in Osun State, the state government has set up an emergency response committee to map out plans in preventing Ebola from Osun and to put in place a quick response to curtail it if it occurs. Rashid has details.
Like some Nigerians will say, the fear of Ebola elicits caution. Since the outbreak of the dreaded disease in Nigeria, proactive measures have been put in place by government at all levels to either curtail its spread or prevent it in states where it is not yet recorded. Osun State government says it has put in place isolation and quarantine centers to stop a possible outbreak.
Some buildings, some hospitals, which we have built but have not been occupied yet as our isolation centers. And we have taken delivery of personal protective equipment, PPE. Spoke with Dr. Yewande Adesina, who is the special advisor to the governor on public health in Lagos State, coming to Osun on Wednesday on what they have been doing and ways by which they could help us here in Osun to ensure and make sure that we do not have this Ebola here in Osun.
The Osun State government says it has also set up an interministerial committee ranging from the Ministry of Health to religious institutions to help with aggressive enlightenment.
The state government have put a high-powered committee in place, and it's a ministerial committee. Members are the Health Ministry, Information Ministry, Environment Ministry, Tourism, and we have Agri, Education, and rural and water resources. Outside the ministerial system, we have the traditional council representation.
The State Commissioner for Environment, Bukola Oyawoye, has warned all hotel owners of sanctions if they fail to report clients to the ministry henceforth.
Then to alert us if there are visitors in their hotels. No hotelier should keep any visitors without the knowledge of the state government now. We need to know everyone that enters Osun by way of being a visitor.
The special advisor to Governor Rauf Aregbesola on health, Rafiu Samotu, says the state government is set to bring doctors in to tackle Ebola if the need arises.
The only training teaching hospital we have in Osun is Lautech, which is jointly owned by Oyo and Osun. But all our doctors in all the state hospitals, in all our general hospitals, complex centers are not resident doctors. So they are ready, they are on red alert to help us in case we have any case of Ebola here in Osun.
These preventive measures are only precautionary, as no known case of Ebola has been recorded in Osun State. Rashid, CoreTV News.
The Ekiti State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has faulted the All Progressives Congress for saying that it was used as a test by the federal government to ensure victory for its candidate in the June 21st governorship election in the state. It said the statement credited to the state's APC chairman, Jide Awe, that Governor Rauf Aregbesola of Osun State retained his seat in the August 9 election because the PDP was unable to manipulate the poll like it did in Ekiti lacked logic. The party's publicity secretary, Kola Oluwawole, said the APC had by the comment shown that it would never see anything good in people not sharing the same political belief. The PDP spokesman ordered that the accusation by the APC that the Ekiti poll was militarized could not hold water. As said in Edo State, Adams Oshomole lauded the presence of security agents during his election, adding that Oshomole went to thank President Jonathan after he won, saying the presence of military men dissuaded people from fomenting trouble. With the scourge of the Ebola virus still a major concern, the Federal Ministry of Health has announced that the experimental drug Nan-Silver has not been approved for use in Nigeria as treatment for Ebola patients. While making the announcement in Lagos, Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu says the non-approval of the drug comes after a rigorous process by the nation's Health Ethics Committee.
And although the drug had since that last Thursday arrived Lagos and have been made available to the emergency operations center, it had not been administered to any patients because we are waiting clearance by the National Health Research Ethics Committee. And then we also informed that by this morning, the National Health Research Ethics Code withheld its approval, which means we are not going to use it.
He also gave this update on the fight against the virus and its spread across the nation.
As of today, the number of people who have died from Ebola virus disease in Nigeria stands at 4. This figure includes the index case, 2 health workers who participated in the management of the index case, and then a protocol officer working for the ECOWAS Commission who was detailed to welcome the party, of whom the index case was among, who were headed to Calabar via Lagos. So those are the 4. The number of persons in Lagos that are currently under surveillance stands at 189. They are secondary contacts. And the number of persons under surveillance in Enugu, 6 secondary contacts.
Sierra Leone is one of the countries most affected by Ebola. French non-governmental organization Médecins Sans Frontières says survivors are being allowed to return home if they can prove that they are no longer contagious. Sierra Leone has stepped up efforts against the deadly Ebola virus.
So far, we've had more than 200 confirmed cases at our Ebola center, and we've had 52 survivors. Anyone who's confirmed to have Ebola then is monitored. If they stop having symptoms, then a second test will be done. And the test will look to see if the viral load has fallen to the point where the person is no longer infectious. And at that point, they can be discharged and go home to their community. Today, we're taking survivors home to their village, which is very exciting for us because it means we have survivors. And it's also really beneficial to the overall response to the outbreak because when survivors go home, they can explain about their experience at the center. They give people hope that it's possible to survive. And it really builds trust between the community and MSF.
Kenyan government has announced the closure of its borders to travelers from Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, the 3 countries worst hit by the Ebola outbreak. Kenya Airways also announced that it would suspend its flights to Freetown and Monrovia. Several European carriers have already suspended services to the Sierra Leonean and Liberian capitals, where states of emergency have been declared to try to slow the spread of the disease. As reactions continue to trail the decision of the federal government to sack resident doctors in its employ nationwide, the medical practitioner and second vice chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association in Lagos State, Segun Akinwotu, has called for a rethink on the part of the government. Akinwotu says the nation's medical practitioners are not aware of the unprecedented emergency of the Ebola. He urged the government to shun blackmail and address the issues so that medical services can be restored to Nigerians.
We have already inadequate number of doctors working in Nigeria. And if there was a strike called by NMA and government comes around to just sack a segment of the NMA, it is not the solution to the problem. It's likely rather going to be counterproductive. I expect that government would still continue to explore channels of negotiations and dialogue to solve this problem. There's the Ebola outbreak. The NMA has been at the forefront. We are part of the Nigerian doctors who are involved. There are 5 doctors involved. 2 are foreigners, 3 are NMA members who are working in the IDH in Yaba. We go there to see them daily. You realize that even people have called us because the government is trying to blackmail NMA for still being on strike while there's Ebola outbreak.
Reactions have started to trail federal government's suspension of 16,000 striking resident doctors, while some want the government to immediately end the face-off due to the deadly Ebola crisis in the country. Others are of the opinion that the doctors' action were illegal and in sharp contrast to their professional oath. Motayalo, who was at the official lunch of the Sunday newspaper, took some dignitaries up on the issue.
The recent announcement by federal government placing all the resident doctors protesting the poor condition of service on suspension has been generating serious reactions from Nigerians. Many feel that the government should have known that the importation of the Ebola virus into the country by a Liberian American has presented an unprecedented health emergency in the country, and the doctors' demand should have been met so that they can return to work. Others argue that the oath of the medical profession does not permit any doctor to go on strike, and breaching the oath is a serious offense that can lead to termination of appointment. A member of the National Assembly, Abike Dabiri Iriwa, says this is no time to toy with doctors' demand.
Whoever advised the president gave a very, very wrong advice. It's going to be counterproductive. It's not going to help us. And it's one of the reasons why our doctors are living in droves to work abroad. So I do not support it at all. And I believe that the president should be magnanimous enough to rescind that decision.
A delegate of the just concluded national conference, Anya Anya, stressed the doctors should understand clearly their essential service role in the society and should not resort to the use of strike as a tool in resolving face-off with government.
I understand how the doctors feel. However, we're in a national emergency. They took an oath to save life. And when you get to the point where it's a matter of life and death for the millions of Nigerians, no doctor has the responsibility, unless he's irresponsible and amoral, to say he will not give his service.
Chairman of All Progressives Grand Alliance Party, Victor Ume, encourages government and the striking doctors to find a quick resolution to the face-off in order to guarantee a healthy society.
Doctors, by their training, are not supposed to go on strike. If you are a trained doctor, you must be ready at all times by the ethics of your profession to save lives. You cannot say that you're a doctor because of pay. For example, you allow somebody who is sick to die. It's an immortal sin.
It is very obvious that there is a health emergency in the country, with 4 deaths recorded from the Ebola virus and several others still under surveillance for the disease. Government and doctors should come to compromise to save the afflicted ones. Omota Yualo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Center for Social Justice has faulted the decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to reintroduce charges on the use of automated teller machines by customers of deposit money banks. The Apex Bank had issued a new directive for the reintroduction of the charge 2 years after it abolished the 100 naira per withdrawal fee. In a statement by the lead director, Eze Onyekpere, the group regretted the reintroduction of the charge, stating that there is no reasonable justification for the development. It urged the CBN to consider the interest of all the parties that will be affected by the new directive and balance any conflict by appropriating obligations on those best positioned to bear them. The group described the reintroduction of the ATM charge as a retrogressive step that would unduly burden bank customers, discourage the unbanked from using the banking system, and also negate the cashless policy. The Falconets, Nigeria's under-20 women football team, is set to play New Zealand in one of the quarter-final matches at the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup in Canada. The match comes up at the Moncton Stadium, I beg your pardon, by 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Falconet head coach Peter Dedevbo says the team will go into the game with all seriousness. He added that the team will exhibit the character they used against England. The Falconet qualified top of the group from the group stage of the competition. You're watching CoreTV News at 7. We'll take this very short break. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome you to From the Ivory Tower. On happenings around the country, varsity teachers get to air their views. Students are actually not left out. We bring you intellectual ends from the events happening around you. It is dedicated to educating the populace with a spice of entertainment.
From the Ivory Tower, Tuesdays, only on CoreTV News.
Good to have you back. It's CoreTV News at 7. With just a month to go until Scotland votes on independence from Britain, early polls suggest that the plan might be defeated. First Minister Alex Salmond faces a tough challenge to turn the contest around and secure victory.
To be independent or not to be independent? That is the question the Scots will have to answer next month when they vote in a referendum that will decide their nation's future. Though it has been part of Great Britain since 1707, Scotland has had its own devolved parliament and control over areas like healthcare and education for 15 years. Now the Scottish National Party, led by Scotland's First Minister Alex Salmond, is fighting for a complete split from the historic union, meaning they'll be able to determine their own defence and foreign policy as well as full tax and spending priorities.
The referendum is not about this party or this First Minister or even the wider Yes campaign. It's about putting Scotland's future into Scotland's hands.
But just a few weeks away from the referendum, voters aren't convinced Scotland can make it on its own. Most polls suggest 45 to 50% of Scots will rather remain part of Britain. Around 30% say they will vote yes to independence, while the rest are undecided. The main issue, analysts say, is the economy. It remains unclear whether Scotland as a sovereign state will be able to keep the British pound as currency, and many doubt whether revenues from North Sea oil and gas will be enough to secure the future of an independent Scotland.
You should be thinking, what is the Scottish economy going to be like? What are the revenues for the government going to be like in 50 years' time, for example, or 100 years' time, when you and I are dead, but our children and our grandchildren are part of the Scottish economy. So that is the key question.
Salmond has accused his opponents of carrying out Project Fear, a campaign to scare off voters from claiming their sovereignty. Whether they choose to sever ties with Britain or not, Scots will have to remember that if they do end up going it alone, there will be no turning back.
That's it on CoreTV News at 7. It was nice having you stay on till the end. Thanks for watching. Join us again at 9:45 for Primetime News. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of our programs. I am Gift Ogete. Good evening.